Baka hindi na...
Can you see it? Okay.
Baka hindi makita niya.
You want me to hold on with your...
Ma, I was better than...
Oh, okay.
Well,
Here,
good
go.
afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Vancouver Aquarium. For those of you just joining us, my name is Leslie. I'm here on the rocks in the dolphin habitat. How are you doing this gorgeous June day? Good to hear. Well, today we're going to invite you on a bit of research. Now, when most people think of science and research, they often think of microscopes and laboratories, but a lot of research is done by just observing some pretty amazing animals. And our discovery is all about dolphins today and their role in the ocean's food web. And helping us out with this, we are joined by Christy and Adria. They're going to help to introduce us to the dolphins in a way researchers often see them out in the ocean. This is Spinnaker. Spinnaker is the only male dolphin in the habitat. He's a pretty phenomenal leaper. We also have two females, and their names are Helen and Hannah. Should we give them a round of applause for that? That was a pretty amazing introduction. Now, leaps like that can really only come from a dolphin, and there's actually 43 species of dolphin and porpoise worldwide. You can find up to a dozen of them right here off the coast of British Columbia. So our first job today is to figure out what species we're looking at. So if you have a close look at their bodies, you might notice they have a very torpedo-shaped body. They have a large hooked dorsal fin on their back, and they have that very distinctive coloration pattern of black, gray, and white. All of these things tell me we are looking at Pacific white-sided dolphins. Now, as their name suggests, they can be found in the Pacific. You find this species in the North Pacific, all the way from northern Mexico up the coast to Alaska and across the ocean into the coast of Japan. And they're known for being very fast, very social, and incredibly acrobatic. We're looking at one of the most acrobatic species of dolphin in the world. Now, we're very lucky to have this species so close to our coastline here in British Columbia. They were once considered to be a strictly open ocean species of dolphin. But several decades ago, they mysteriously moved closer inshore. This has been allowing researchers a great opportunity to learn more about them. And since their reappearance, researchers are trying to keep track of as many dolphins as possible. They do this by taking photographs of individual dolphins and adding them to their dolphin catalog. Here is an amazing look at our dolphins. You might notice they all look a little bit different. They might have a slightly different body shape or size or coloration pattern, but it's not very often that researchers have dolphins coming up onto docks like this. It's very hard to get photos of their entire body, so instead, researchers, they rely on taking photographs of just one part of their body, the part that breaks the water first when they breathe and enters the water last, the dorsal fin. If you take a look at our dolphin dorsal fins, you might notice they all look quite different. For example, Spinnaker, the farthest away from me, he has the most white on his dorsal fin. Whereas Helen and Hannah's, they have very different shapes to their dorsal fins, but they do have kind of half black, half white. So these dorsal fins, they're a great way for dolphins to identify, for researchers to identify individuals from each other. Well, we've learned a little bit more about this species and where you can find them, but let's look at their role in the ocean's food web. And food webs, they're made up of predators and prey. We'll start with the predator side of things first. If you get the opportunity to look inside the mouth of one of these dolphins, you might notice that you're looking at a lot of teeth. Pacific white-sided dolphins, they have about 100 to 120 very sharp and cone-shaped teeth. Now, these teeth, they're very well designed for catching and grabbing small fish and squid, but what they're not designed for is chewing. You might have noticed that the dolphins, they've been swallowing their food whole. Now, this works well for small fish and squid, but dolphins, if you were lucky enough to catch a really big salmon, could you swallow it whole?
I know.
I didn't think so. They're not really answering my question. What they are doing is showing us what they can do with a bigger fish. By holding it in their teeth and shaking their head back and forth, they can rip that fish into nice bite-sized pieces. Now, dolphins do make very good predators, but they're not at the top of the food chain. They have predators of their own to be aware of. And one way to protect themselves is to use their coloration pattern as a form of camouflage. You might have noticed that they have a dark back and a white belly. This is called counter shading. How does it work? Well, when you're looking down on the dolphins like we're looking down on them, until they pop up to the surface because their dark back is blending in with the dark ocean below. But those white bellies, if we were a predator from below, looking up, they blend in very well with the white sky above. So no matter which way you're looking at a dolphin, they're always very well blended into their surroundings. Now, this is very good camouflage, but it's not perfect. They still fall prey to a few major predators out there. And the predator is demonstrating one way to get away from a killer whale. Pacific white-sided dolphins, they can reach speeds of up to 35 kilometers an hour. So they can try to outswim that killer whale, but they can also use their smaller size, their quick turns, and their acrobatics to outmaneuver that bigger, bulkier killer whale. Now, another major predator, it's known for having a lot of teeth. It's one of the top predators in the ocean. First I'm talking about the shark. And if a dolphin meets up with a shark, they use very different tactics. They try to actively defend themselves. One part of their body that they can use as a weapon is the front of their face. It's called their rostrum, and it's about as hard as a baseball bat. So they could use that to ram a shark, but the other end of their body is also a very powerful weapon. They can use those tails to swipe at a shark, and again, they're trying to do a bit of damage, or at least deter that shark from having some dolphin for dinner. Now, even with killer whales and sharks out there, though, dolphins do have an even greater threat they have to be aware of. If you want to know what that threat is, you just need to look to your left and look to your right. You're surrounded by them. People, we cause a lot of trouble for dolphins, specifically when our garbage ends up in their oceans. And this is known as marine debris. And all three of our dolphins, they know about marine debris firsthand. They're all rescued animals. Helen is showing off the injuries that she sustained from fishing nets. All three of these dolphins were entangled in fishing nets. Now, these animals, they were lucky. They were rescued in time. They were rehabilitated. And now they serve as unreleasable rescue animals. And they remind us that we can help dolphins out every day. Excuse me. It's just as easy as making sure that we're careful with our garbage and always putting it in the garbage or the recycling. Well, before we leave you, we're going to give you one last look at the stars of our show. Again, we have Spinnaker, Helen, and Hannah. On behalf of myself, Adria, and Christy, and of course these amazing dolphins, thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic day at Vancouver Aquarium. End of our show. Again, my name is Leslie. If you have any questions, please feel free to come on over and chat with me. I'll be located at this ramp here. Otherwise, have a fantastic day at the aquarium.
What do you think about that family? No.
I am